I was in third grade. I jumped off the school bus and I ran through the neighborhood to get home, just like I did every single day. Only this day was different because it was the first day that I had to learn and deal with death, with the loss of a loved one. Grandpa, who lived right next door, he wasn't our real grandpa, but he was the closest thing that we had, my brothers and I, to a real grandpa. He had passed away that day. And just minutes before I got home, all the final fire trucks and ambulance, they had just left. So the neighborhood seemed normal when I got home, but all chaos hadn't even really settled from his massive heart attack that he had in his living room. And that was the introduction that I had to what death is and loss of life. This man was the closest friend to my oldest brother. They were like thick as thieves, as they say. And so I watched how painful it was. And my brother, being 7 years older, he had a better understanding of what death was. I'm in third grade. I didn't really grasp the concept, but fast forward more than 20 years, and I have developed a relationship with death that I think is my actual superpower. What I mean by this is most people, especially in our culture, let's say the Western world, I'm here in the United States, and I know for sure it's the way of avoidance and ignoring death and don't really talk about it. It's almost taboo. I don't want to say it is taboo, but it's almost taboo to talk about or think about death. But I've spent years thinking about death and I've seen so much benefit from that I want to share 7 reasons death and the thought of death has become my superpower and could be your superpower to a much better life. And I know this sounds contrary, it sounds dark, but let me show you. Don't just trust me, let me prove it. First, thinking about death and thinking about losing loved ones actually supercharges my experience with them. It's like a cheat code for gratitude and being present. Anytime I think of, man, one day we're all going to be gone. Everyone you know, everyone I know, we're all going to be gone. We know this. Everybody knows this, but we sort of dance around that fact. If you think the person you are sitting in front of, sitting next to in the same house, or you're bumping shoulders with, or just a quick little exchange at a coffee shop, if you just think this is the last time I'm ever going to see them again or get to experience them again, it's an instant supercharger for you to be so thankful for that moment you are having with that person. It brings you right here, right now, and a wonderful test, sort of a snap back to reality, shed some tears type of experiment to take is I've done this with my dog, I've done this with my partner, with my kids, with my parents, with my siblings. A wonderful test is to think that the next time, like, what if the next time you see this person or this thing, what if the next time you see them is the very last time you will ever see them? How would you treat them any differently? Would you hug them differently, tighter, stronger, longer? Would you smell them a different way? Like, how are you going to show up if you know that this next interaction you have with this person is the last one you're going to have? And that is, I'm telling you, it's brought tears to my eyes so many times. That is an instant snap into a deeper sense of connection with that person. So, number one, thinking about death, it supercharges your gratitude and your presence. It makes you right here, right now, with this person, me and you. That's it. Whatever else is going on in the world doesn't matter. It's just you and I. And it's a wonderful feeling for yourself, and the other person feels that connection strength as well. They may not know why because it's going on in your head, but they feel it. They definitely feel it. And it's strong enough oftentimes to completely overtake the world of scrolling and I'm on my phone, I'm on my phone, I'm on my phone. So that's number one. Supercharges gratitude and presence. Number two is it reduces procrastination. Thinking about death and think about dying, the indecision that comes with so many different things. You have a wonderful idea. You want to start this business. You've thought about running that business or going and running this race, this marathon, traveling to that place. The indecision around all of it. Oh, someday, and procrastinating. When you think, this is it. One day I'm going to be gone. Or if you're trying to set up a trip with somebody else, one day they're also going to be gone. We don't know what day it is. Most of us never have a clue when it's our last day. If you think about this and you realize, I don't need to be procrastinating on this. I don't need indecision. We need to just go and do it and live life to the fullest right now. Now is the time. Thinking of death and having that presence of mind, it helps you with indecision. It helps you with procrastination and eliminating those, or at least lessening them extremely. It's a wonderful experience. That's number two. Number three, I'm looking at my notes here. Number three, increases courage and risk taking. Similar to when are we going to go on this epic trip we've planned for all these years? Oh, we're just going to buy the ticket right now. If you've never had that experience, by the way, when you're in the moment and you're like, oh, it'd be so cool to go here or go there with you. Oh, yeah, we do this. And one of you just decides, let's do it. Let's book the ticket right now. If you've never had that experience, I'm telling you right now, it's one of the most thrilling things you can do. And even with all the weird butterflies and maybe fear that you feel around that spontaneous trip booking. I'm not saying you have to leave right now, but if you just book the trip right now, it could be a trip that leaves 12 months from right now. But that feeling of like, we just did it right then and there. Oh man, what a thrill and what a bonding experience for you and that person or those people that you're with. So it increases a bit of risk taking and courage and oh no, I don't want to do the cliff jumping and jump in the water here, or I don't want to go run that obstacle course, that obstacle race, or whatever it may be. When you realize this is it, this life right here right now, I don't know how long I have it, I don't know how long you have it. When you realize that and that's really present in your mind, it's worth maybe taking that little cliff jump or going and doing that little race that you thought of with the obstacles that are kind of scary and whatnot. It's worth doing that. It's worth a little bit more risk than you may otherwise be living at. Your risk tolerance goes up a little bit when you're present. Number four, it strengthens your relationships. I mentioned a little bit about this where there's different experiences you can have that that sort of experiment with if the next interaction you have with that person is the last time and being present in your mind of that experience alone is going to strengthen your bond with a person. But there also there are also powers of thinking of death helping you be more forgiving and understanding that that thing you felt so strong about, as people say, what hill would you die on? That hill that you were going to die on, some of those hills maybe you wouldn't actually die on that hill and you just care a lot about it, or you want someone to see it your way and they're not seeing it your way, so you're just sticking it straight to this. A lot of those aren't as serious as you may feel they are or think they are when compared to the overall perspective of we're not in this forever. So it helps you with your relationships and forgiveness and yeah, I know you did this thing and it was upsetting to me and all this stuff and I maybe I blew up at the time, but in the grand scheme of things, the grand scheme being this life and then eventual death for all of us, in the grand scheme of things, not that big of a deal. So, yeah, I kind of feel this way, and I'm still going to communicate that to you, but it's not as big a deal as maybe I made it out to be. I still love you. I still want to be friends or partners, whatever it may be, and I still want to be on your team, whatever capacity that looks like. So it strengthens your friendships. That's number four. Number five, it redefines success. So if you've ever thought of, I have to keep up with the Joneses, I have to earn this much money, I have to go to school, get that good job, stick with it for 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, invest in the 401k, max it out. If you've ever thought of or felt a little bit trapped into that game, just realize at some point you will kick the bucket. You are going to die. I'm going to die, and it changes everything. And I'll tell you my experience with that. Right out of college, I went and worked at an investment firm. I spent every day dreaming of being somewhere else in the world, going and adventuring in different countries and hearing different languages and smelling the different scents in the street and street food of all these places around the world that I'd seen plenty of images and videos of. I grew up watching Nat Geo and, Animal Planet and Travel Channel and things like this. So I had so many images, but I had never experienced it firsthand. And man, every day in that office, the job that has an excellent benefits package, I'm secure in this role. It's in the world of finance. If I stay here, I'm going to surely be a millionaire in no time. Every day I wished I was somewhere else. And frankly, everyone around me had the measure of success of how big is their bank account, how much money did they earn this paycheck and next paycheck and their bonus and all that stuff. And it did not click with me. If I played their game, if I forgot about death and assumed that I was going to live to be 75 years old, retire at 65, have 10 years of wonderful life after retirement with all this money, I was like, man, this doesn't make sense. My body's going to be beaten up and broken down after sitting and working this job for 40 years in this chair at a computer desk and arthritis. And I was looking around at all these people who were sort of close to a retirement age that didn't have a smile on their face. The wrinkles on their face told the story of misery, not pure bliss or joy or pleasure or experience around the world. Not for me. I luckily I redefined success for me, and part of that reframe was thinking about death. Okay, let's say I play that game. Let's play their game. What if I die 3 years from now and I spent these 3 years miserable trying to play a 40-year game when I only made it 3 years in and then I kicked the bucket? What if I flip this whole thing on its head and I go, what does success look like to me? At this age in my early 20s, I have my bachelor's degree, and sure, I can go get these jobs, those jobs, whatever, but what does it actually look like and feel like to me? It changed everything for me, especially when I thought I could die potentially tomorrow. I could also die 60 years from now. So there's that game that I had to play too, which is don't just blow all my money. You still want to save up, you still want to invest a bit, but maybe there's a dance here that is a better fit for a definition of success for me. Not saying it's the same for everybody else, but you for yourself can determine what does success actually look like. And especially if you think, what if you die tomorrow? What if you die 80 years from now? Does it change what success looks like and feels like and smells like to you? So, thinking of death, it helps you redefine success for yourself. It's so wonderful to have that freedom of, I'm not even racing you. You're not even in the same competition as me over there. We're not in the same pursuit. You're after that bank account going up, 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 and up. I'm after my life bank account going up, 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 and up, and experience and people meeting and everything like that. So, totally different. Number six, thinking about death, it increases your joy. And when I say joy, I'm not talking about, oh, I'm just happy go lucky and everything. There's everybody has miserable days, and whatever path you take, there's going to be hard times, but it increases your joy, the pleasure you have in little experiences that might otherwise just be overlooked. If you're thinking money is the pursuit for you and you think you have 60 years ahead of you, when you think, man, what if next week was it? As you're eating lunch with your friend and you're at this little takeout spot that wasn't it's not that great, honestly. The music kind of sucks and the food isn't so great, but man, when you think you only have 1 week left or 1 day left, you go, this food is not so bad. And especially if I'm in good company, even in the presence of myself, I get to look around the world and experience this world, understanding that it's limited for me. I don't have forever to take this all in. This might be the last time I eat this type of meal or hear this type of music. And you enjoy it a lot differently. You start to look for and pull out of life the things that you really feel good about, that you enjoy. You stop looking around at like, oh, that kind of sucks. This decor over here is kind of boring. You're not looking at it that way. You start to look at pure delight and enjoyment when you're thinking, my time is limited, my experiences are limited with this physical world. So, number six, it increases joy and pleasure. Number seven, lastly, this isn't as certain as the first six, but it is a hope and it is an experience that I've had waves of. I've been in and out of this and I've drifted in and out of it. Sometimes it's more intense, sometimes it's less intense. But number seven is thinking of death. It actually removes the fear of death. Now, when I say I've been in and out of this, I mean, sometimes when I think of death, I feel this like, oh man, I really don't want to die because there's so much in this world that I want to experience. And in that essence, it's not so scary per se, but it's kind of like a longing feeling that I could feel sometimes. But more frequently, thinking of death has led me to just not really fear it because I'm living the day by day more in accordance with how I would hope to live day by day. If I were at the so-called pearly gates and have to look back over my life, like, how did you live it? Well, ever since I had that relationship with death and looked at life in a different light, man, I lived a pretty good life. And almost every day was like to the fullest, or at least if not to the fullest, it was like more full than if I hadn't kept death present in my thoughts, thinking of losing my loved ones, my dog, my whoever in my life that I love experiencing. And it's like, man, I appreciated it a lot more. And it's okay, when that chapter closes of this physical life for me, I'm more at ease with that because I'm more conscious of life since I'm aware of the impending doom that we all dun 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 experience. So it kind of removes the fear of death. Now, again, I say this is in waves because sometimes I do go, oh man, it would be kind of scary, or, I'll have feelings here or there. But in the grand scheme, I definitely have less fear around death since thinking of it and everything like that. More so because the thought around dying leads me to live better, to where it goes, well, I left it all out on the field, so to speak, to use an old sports analogy. 7 ways thinking of death can actually be your superpower. It supercharges gratitude and presence. It reduces procrastination and indecision. It increases courage and risk taking. It strengthens relationships. It redefines success. It increases joy and pleasure. And it removes the fear of death itself. I hope this helps you. I hope you just go out and live the life that you want based on your terms from this. And you maybe think about death a lot more. If you're not open to discussing it with other people, I hope you just think about it more in a way that it just supercharges your life experience from here on out. Thank you so much for sticking around this long. If you found this valuable in any way, please drop a comment. Let me know what interested you. Subscribe if you feel so inclined to do that, or just share it. More importantly to me is just getting the message out there. Just share it with somebody that you think this might improve their life. And let's grow.